Hello and welcome. This is Alchemist X, and this is the weekly update for September 30th. So this week, Kaya has a class change quest as well as a new limited memento. And aside from a couple other miscellaneous stages, that's pretty much the content for this week. But because it's a Holy Guard class change map, it may take a lot of time and preparation to be able to clear it and get all of the milestones. So it's understandable that that could eat up a bunch of your time, or just the farming that you would have to do to get your Kaya to that point. Because the content is so light, though, I'm gonna go over a bit more for those that are on the newer end of the spectrum, that are less familiar with like the whole sacred stone things. If you're the type of person where you look at the map and think, wait, I have to clear it with this unit, and then but in order to get them strong enough to do that, I have to level up this other unique job, and then I have to go through all of these maps that I haven't done yet in order to get those specific pieces, and then I got to farm this gear. There's a whole thing to it, so I'll save that for last and talk about a couple of other smaller things before that. So first and foremost, there's a challenge board for free fire and water shards, so that's good times. There's also more developers challenge stuff. So even if you either can't or don't want to beat all of the developers challenge maps, I haven't even touched the two most recent ones. I got a lot less motivated once I got the three unique gears. You don't have to do all of them to get the unique gears or the mementos. And some of the other prizes are noticeably less scarce than that. But at least they don't require the same dedication and grinding that the Holy Guard ones do. There's also this Bandit Siege quest that shows up a couple times a day. The prizes aren't super great or noteworthy, but the quest is really easy, so there is that. So now let's talk about the Holy Guard quests and Kaya. So Kaya is an interesting one because this is the first one where you don't need to have cleared the entirety of the Sacred Stone Memories questline in order to be able to beat this. All you need to do is have your Kaya set up, and in order to do that, you need to play a quest that is currently rerunning, and I think it's just in the archives anyway, but the Reaching the Gates of Sin by Dawn. That will give you the stuff for her jobs, equipment leveling up, as well as her free farmable gear, which could be very, very helpful in the map, especially if you have her first VCR. But I've seen clears where they didn't use either of her mementos or any of her VCRs, so don't feel like you have to do that. But for all of the other Holy Guard characters, you're going to need to play all the way through Sacred Stone Memories, and there's a few reasons that you're going to need to do this. The first is because it's how you get Kanon and Kagura, so access to those characters is entirely done this way, and then once you get to certain points in the quest, you'll be able to farm the shards indefinitely, but before that you're just kind of given a stipend and have to clear the content with 4 setups. It's nothing too hard. For those 4 setups, it's not too bad, and for everything else you could probably outscale it as long as you've got enlightened units. So really the biggest or the hardest part is going to be the time consumed, because there's 11 chapters and a bunch of EX stages. So every single Holy Guard character that has a class change map has a job plus before that, which is why I often refer to them as job plus pluses, even though that sounds really silly. And in order to get those unique pieces, you need to get them from these levels. Depends on the character. Of course, you can always look up in the unit screen. So, for example, Otima, you need to, have the unit, have his original job mastered, then do the quest that, after the Deep Blue Sky, I'm pretty sure that's the one, and then get his original job plus mastered, or at least to the max level, and then, you're going to want to master it to be able to survive the class change map. Then you do that map, and then get his job plus, and then he's set. So as far as what order to go in when figuring out how to approach the hardest maps for Holy Guard, there's a few ways you can go about it. One way is to tackle all of the self-contained ones first, like say Kaya or Kudenstein or Otema, Yoris, Monzine. Tackle those ones first because you only need the one unit. And then after that, go and tackle like Cannons, which requires a full party of Holy Guard. Or Kagura's, which requires Kagura and Cannon. So you have to do Cannons before you do Kagura's. Otherwise, it's either unbeatable or just don't do that to yourself. Not worth it. And then Zines requires him and one other unit. So you probably want to, maybe not do Zines first if you don't have any of them, but he could be as low as second after that. So that's all I really have to say about that for those uninitiated in the Holy Guard ways. And with that, let's move on to the banner review. Okay, so here we are at the banners, and this week I am not going to say that the TLDR is that it's basically a skip week for a couple reasons. There's actually some pretty good banners around, and then it's also the end of the month, so last chance to use the discount tickets. So whether you've got one or whether you've got five, odds are you're going to be doing some summoning. So definitely not a skip week. So let's start with the paid banners. The first one is a 2-step that is 100 shard variety for 5 stars. And you're guaranteed at least one set of limited shards. Now, I don't like these as much as the reroll banners, just because, one bad pull will sink you. There's some limited units that are not as good as others, or just less scarce than others. Like any limited unit that has a 3 times a day quest is just going to be less scarce than someone who has either an EX hard quest or no quest at all. And rerolls can help mitigate, bad rolls. And so, but if you're a big enough spender, then I'm not sure that really matters. So it's not the worst, but not the best. Then we've got a reroll banner for units, and any acquired will be 500 shards. So if you're looking for a new acquisition more than you're looking to enlighten units, then this one is going to be the way to go if you feel like spending. And the 50 shards is just kind of a bonus. Again, not terrible, just depends on what you're looking for. The next one is for mementos, and if it wasn't for Zine's New Year's memento being in this pool, I think it would have been awesome for people that spend on paid banners, because otherwise it's a pretty good group of mementos in there. You got if you don't have, I think honestly, if you're a big enough spender and you don't have any of these, then it could still be worth your while, but it's just a shame. It was just a hair away from perfection. Then we've got another one which features all of the memento unit ones. So if you get the memento, you'll get the unit as well. This one's also pretty good. If you're definitely, I'd say light spender up, and you want to take a stab at getting, obviously the Sprite Trio one is the biggest prize here, but Tamis is a pretty good unit. I raised her and she's been great. Alma is also great. Donterra seems like he's alright. I don't have mine raised, but I did use him in that developers challenge, and he was definitely handy there. And then Maka is not bad too. So it's alright. I think it's maybe a little eclipsed by some of the other banners, unless you are trying to play catch up. Then we've got kind of an interesting one for gears. So my philosophy on gears is that, for gacha gears at least, is that they have taken a back seat to VCRs. Now, there's still a few really good ones out there, but usually you can get selectors. But I think if you're a fairly new player and you have the gems to spare, this could be fairly good, especially if you kind of know what you're looking for. Because there are still really good gears out there, whether that's the Bicorn or the Curious Doll, the Legion God necklace, etc. But I think for veterans, probably don't really need it. Then we have a banner I would skip just because we're getting free daily summons. So as far as why spend 500 on something that's only normal pool when you can get free summons, as good as some of these units are. Then we have an Enlightenment Festival for Holy Guard units. You can get a lot of shards here, but in general, I don't really think that it's worth it, even though some of the steps are free. If you really, really want to raise one of these units in particular, and you've got more money than time, then maybe. But I think for most people that either like, for those who've built up a big enough collection of gems to kind of afford this, I've probably been playing long enough to farm these characters out anyway. So I imagine the pool of people who would really benefit from this is going to be small. This one, however, I could see a lot more people doing because it's relatively inexpensive because of the discounted steps 2 and 4. So even if you only got 2 discount tickets, you could do, 400 or 500 steps. And especially if you're free to play, this is the best way to get limited units. So good there. That 5-star guarantee on each step, that makes a big difference because that way you never have like an all blue or a yellow pull, and that just is one more probability hurdle that you've crossed. So the next banner is the one for Kaya's memento, and this is nice because it's got both of them, and since she has 2 limited mementos, being able to get both of them in one go is good. And then as an added bonus, any 5-star mementos that appear are going to be Holy Guard, which is great if you are hoping to pick up any of some of the other limited ones. When Kudenstein's ran, I did a couple steps of it and ended up getting like Otima's newest one and Zine's newest one. So these can be great just for that reason alone. So another excellent place to put discount tickets. And then finally, we've got another 9-step, and this time it's for the memento units. So basically the free-to-play version of the paid banner earlier. Now, if you do not have the Sprite Trio memento, and you've got the gems to spare, especially if you've got your discounts tickets stacked, I would 100% do this. Voda is one of the best support units in the entire game, especially if you like to fight raid bosses. Like, you stick your Zahar next to Voda and things will very, very die. So definitely could be worth your while to do this. And then as an added bonus, you might get some other good ones along the way because steps 2 and step 5 have one of these featured guaranteed. So you could get it as early as step 2. And even if you don't, you might get Tamis or Alma. So excellent. This is an excellent banner. So with that, everything else is old. I'm going to move on to a little bit of summoning. Alright, so my game plan here is I'm going to do 2 steps of the Holy Guard memento banner, see what I get. Guaranteed at least 1, but it's not guaranteed to be something I necessarily need. It could easily end up being 100 vision coins, but I think it's worth taking a stab at it because I think Kaya's is really good. I also still don't have Kudenstein's either, and I don't have Monzine's or Kagura's. So I think there's at least enough for a possibility. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Kaya's new memento gives skill use +1 as its max limit break bonus. It comes with a snowball, and what else? The leader skill is very offensive, which as long as your HP is okay, then that can be pretty handy if you just need to kill things before they kill you. Oh, also, the reason that I only had 1 discount ticket is because I burned a couple last week on that banner that gave the 150 shards for that, where you could pick your own pool. Largely thanks to people in the comments section. People were talking about how great it was, and I thought it was all right, but the more I thought about it, the more I was okay with it. And Yaris's, that's cool. I think I just have the 1 copy of that, so that's a limit break. But I got 300 shards of Lilith, so I had 1 dud roll and then 2 other 5 stars, but they were both Lilith. So now I have Lilith raised, because that made the difference to get her pretty much fully enlightened. The only thing I don't have is her first memento, but I think that's alright. I used her in a raid and she's awesome, so thank you, people in the comments. Oh, holy shit, I shouldn't have skipped that. Look at that, I got Kudenstein's memento. Wow, alright. Or maybe I should skip things more often if it's a sign of good luck. Alright. You know what, I think I'm just gonna skip it. Or not skip, call it good there, because that was really lucky, and I think I'd rather just save gems, because I don't think I'm going to be able to top 2 limited mementos in 1 pull. So yeah, hopefully all of you summoning have good luck, and I will see you all next time.